Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay. Yeah,
Thank
I've
you. Just a
been.
moment. Thank you so much. Okay. Can you see the content on the screen? Can you see that?
Not yet, Isaac.
They're still showing like a Can you stop it and start again?
Just a moment, let me try.
There is some disturbance from your end. Is it like same thing?
One moment. One moment.
Yeah, Isaac, we can see it.
You are muted.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Thank you so much. Okay, shall we start?
But Isaac, you I think you joined twice, so there is some echo.
Looks like. Just a moment. Yeah.
And also, like I'm getting some disturbance from your end. Some kind of like sound. Are you using any mic or something? You can use one account for the voice purpose and another account for the screen share, so that it will be easy.
Yeah. Can you log me off from your end? Is it possible?
Sorry, can you come again?
Can you log me off from your end?
From my end, it's fine actually, but while you speaking, there is some issues. If you are using any kind of audio devices or any earphones, you can remote and you can speak, so that it will be good.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, now, shall we start? The content is it visible for you right now? Content visible for you?
No, you have to share the screen, I think. Ashwini, you can able to hear you properly,
Yeah, I can hear you.
but
Perfect. Thank you.
are you getting
Can you
same
hear,
some
yeah, can you
disturbance
hear
or
me
something?
now? Can you hear me now? Echo should be gone now.
There
I
is
think
some
so. Yeah.
disturbance.
Are you and also are you using any fan or something? Fan.
No, not exactly.
Uh,
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear
yeah.
me?
Yes, we can able to hear you, but that's only thing is there is some disturbance between.
Just a moment. Let me check on that. Thank you. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes. Yeah, you can go ahead. But it is still showing like is you started the screen sharing. The screen is not visible for you. Can you reshare once again?
Sure. Can you see that? Can you see that on the screen? Can you see that?
Yes.
No,
See
sir.
that? Okay, thank you.
No, we are not.
Have you
It's
shared
not
something?
visible for you. Screen is not visible for you.
No, it's not.
Screen is being shared, I suppose. Sorry for that. Can you see that on the screen now? Can you see that?
Uh, no, still showing like
You cannot. Where it's on share actually.
showing that is like I started the screen sharing. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Can you see the PPT on the screen? The PPT. Can you see
No.
that now?
It's just still showing that you have started the screen sharing, not yet visible. I just sent you the screenshot to your WhatsApp.
Just a moment. Can you see now? Can you see now, by the way? Can you see that?
No, it is still showing that like as I started screen sharing. That's it. Can you rejoin if you don't mind? Let me share you so that you can see. So can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. I think there is no issues with the Zoom. So issues with our laptop, I think. Yes, you can start the screen share once again. Yes, now we can able to see.
Say that. Okay, thank you so much. Shall we start? Shall we start?
Yes, we can.
Thank you so much. Okay,
Srini,
now.
Srini,
Yeah.
can you brief about yourself?
Sorry?
Can you brief about yourself? So that,
Okay, let me start from my end first, then you can go with that. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. So your name is Ashwini, right?
Yeah, I'm Srini here.
So that Srini. Sorry about that. Now, Srini, have you done any certification before by any chance?
Yeah, I have done the Azure certification and few other certifications as well.
Thank you so much. Now, let me give a brief intro before I come to the topic. Now, my name is George, Isaac George, yeah, and I have done around 250 trainings across the globe. Yeah. And if you name it, I have trained for all major companies in the world. Yeah. So 250 trainings across the globe. And from that, 150 for TOGAF and ITL and project management. Okay. So that is my training experience. Now, coming to the topic, if you look at TOGAF, TOGAF basically stands for the Open Group Architecture Framework. Getting it? Now, I want to tell you this one. It is a certification code, the TOGAF Architecture Framework. There are two things about it. One, if you want to practice TOGAF, you need to be certified. Getting it? So the first thing is we take you through 4-day course. It is basically preparing you for the basic things and certification. Getting it? So once you get through that, then only you can get into implementation. Getting it? So even if you take the course, you can understand the basic things of TOGAF. There are two levels here, level 1 and 2, the basic things about TOGAF and the implementation to a basic extent. Getting it? So that is what we plan in the TOGAF course for 4 days. Getting it?
Could you repeat that? Actually, see, I know that there's a basic and there's a 9.2 something like that.
Correct.
So
Two
could you?
levels here, two levels here. One, level 1 and level 2.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it? So level 1 and level 2, level 1 is very basic in TOGAF.
Mm-hmm.
Level 2 is more into implementation.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it? Yeah. However, it is both basically preparing you for certification. Getting it? And second thing, what I want to tell you is TOGAF 9.2, it was running till maybe 3 months back. Now we have a new version called TOGAF 10.
Okay.
10.
10. Okay.
Okay. So I will be taking you through TOGAF 10. TOGAF 9.2, if you look at that, 95% of what I cover in TOGAF 10, it is basically from TOGAF 9.2. Yeah. And some changes have been made, and that's why they call it a new version called TOGAF 10
Okay. 9.2.
and TOGAF 10.
Okay.
Getting it? Yeah. So I'm gonna further take you into that. And so before that, can we have a brief intro about you, what you do, and your expectation from the training, basically? Then we can take it from there.
Yeah, I have been working in the IT industry close to 15 years and working with business and enterprise architects, security architects. And last 5, 6 years, I have been working as a solution architect, majorly in the content solution, enterprise content solutions. And I have worked with many organizations, including mostly in fintech area and petrochemicals area. Those are the two areas where I work in,
Thank
where
you.
I work closely with the business to kind of do the transformation, data transformation, basically, or kind of application design, and work closely with the delivery team to kind of get it delivered and implemented as well. That's the job what I do. And yeah, I'm keenly looking forward for the basically the uh, TOGAF certification because that is one of the most sought out certifications. And the thing is actually now I know there's a lot of cloud certifications in demand, but I believe the TOGAF will be a kind of superset which could help me either in any of the cloud service providers solution design.
Thank you so much. You're right. I agree with you. Now, let me take it from here. Now, as you told, TOGAF is one of the most sought after certification in the world. Yeah. Because, for example, if you look around, for example, from the US, 95% of the companies in US, they say, if you want to be a practitioner for architecture, you have to be TOGAF certified. Getting it? So not only US, even Europe, Africa, Australia, all these places across the globe. Yeah, so TOGAF is much in demand. Now, coming back to the topic, what exactly is TOGAF? Yeah, now let me ask you, what do you understand by TOGAF? What do you know about TOGAF? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. So as per my understanding, TOGAF is one of the uh, kind of it is a standard which has been published, which will facilitate a smooth understanding or interpretation of the business requirements into a technical representation, and also kind of helps it to kind of easily collaborate and bring a clear understanding between different parties involved, which can be easily understood and kind of uh, delivered with the different teams involved. That the TOGAF facilitates it, and that's been standardized and published by the open group. That's what I understand from TOGAF, and it has its different modules or different concepts.
Thank you so much. Yeah, now what you're telling is correct. You're right. Now, let me give a simple example to take you from here. Now, imagine, have you heard of a company called Metronics?
Netronics, correct?
Metronics, yeah.
Not
Okay,
really.
let me tell you, Metronics, if you look at that, it is the #1 medical equipment company in the world. Yeah. One more company is there, there's another company called Covidian. Yeah. So Metronics is based out of US and Covidian is based out of Ireland. So what happened is recently, maybe not recently, maybe 4 years back, Metronics took over Covidian. Yeah. So what happens is, coming to the architecture part, if two organizations merge, it is a major challenge of looking at architecture. Because, for example, if you look at Medtronic, they have a business architecture, they have a data architecture, they have an application architecture, and so many different things. Yeah, process, yeah, departments, so many things are there. Now, similarly, if you look at Covidian, Covidian has so much of data, so many different process, applications, technology. So what happens is, if you merge two organizations, it is a huge challenge because you have to integrate all this. Yeah, you have to integrate the business architecture, the data architecture, application architecture, the technology, and things like that. Yeah. So what happens is, TOGAF as a framework, it can facilitate simple ways of doing it. Yeah. If I find to merge two organizations very tough, TOGAF is a framework which I can use to basically carry out the architecture work. So that's why any architecture framework in the world, it is in demand because it simplifies your work. Getting it? And second thing, TOGAF, if you look at that, it is the #1 architecture framework in the world. Yeah. Are you familiar with any other architecture framework?
There are a few of them which I've heard, but basically, when as such I design, I follow certain UML diagrams, like starting with the use case diagram, followed by a kind of probably actor-based diagram, or something like state machine diagram, and that's how I follow. But how do they all fit in as an enterprise architecture level? That is something which I'm trying to still explore and understand.
Got
And
it. Thank you. Now, coming back to TOGAF, like you said, there are so many frameworks in the world. Now, for example, TOGAF is the #1 architecture framework. Similarly, there's another one called DODAF. Yeah. Have you heard of DODAF, by the way? DODAF?
yeah, I have.
Yeah. DODAF is basically a framework from the US Army. Another one, it is called MODAF. Yeah. Ministry of Defense Architecture Framework, UK. Yeah. And another one is called ZACMAN. Yeah. So likewise, hundreds of frameworks are available in the world. However, TOGAF is the #1 architecture framework, and so it's in demand. Getting it? Now, coming back to TOGAF, if you look at that, what exactly do we do? Yeah, no, since time is limited, I'll take you to the PPT as well. Now, what TOGAF does is, yeah, if you look at, let me give you one more example. If you want to make a house, what do you do?
Start with a concept, what is expected, and kind of a broader understanding or expectation from the house, and gradually come up with the blueprint, and then then look into the details of each uh, structure or room, and how do we fulfill it each one in those blueprint we'll see, and try to kind of give a detailed uh, blueprint of each room or each component involved, and how do they all fit in together at the end. That's how we come up with a kind of a detailed design for it.
Very good.
And
Excellent. Very good.
um,
Now, let me come back to that again. Now, if you look at a house, if you, for example, Sri want to make a house, 4-bedroom house, what you do is you plan that in your mind, correct?
correct.
Yeah. For example, you were looking for a 4-bedroom house. You may want to plan how the bedroom is going to look like, where is the kitchen going to be, how many floors of the house, all the details you plan in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because you plan in your mind, can you make a house with the plan what you have in your mind?
It may not be directly possible.
Yep.
You really need to kind of
Correct.
put them
Because
into
the reason being that even if you plan in your mind, are you the one going to construct the house? No, you have to go to the maybe the engineer or the construction company to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it? So before that, like you said, before I construct a house, what I do normally is I go to an architect.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it? What does the architect do? He will take all your plans, what all you have in your mind, and he will create a blueprint, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you have a plan in your mind. You cannot implement that because you are not an architect or a civil engineer. What you will do is you will go to an architect and tell him, this is what I'm planning to make. Yeah. Based on your requirement and plan, he will create a blueprint, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, what do you do with the blueprint? You will go to a construction company or an engineer and tell him, this is the blueprint for the house, what I have planned. Can you construct the house for me, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you look at that, you have a plan, you go to an architect to make a blueprint, and then go to a construction company to implement that, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have a question here. Now, imagine if you have a plan in your mind, you don't want to go to an architect, you want to directly construct a house by yourself. Can you do that?
It can be done, but yeah, it may certain important factors could have been missed out, which we would have learned via experience, or the knowledge which we would have gained would
Correct.
be missed out. Yeah.
You are right. Now, if I want to make a house by myself, yes, I can do that. However, I may not be perfect in what I do,
Mm.
right? For example, if I want to make a kitchen in the front part, because of my planning, I may not be correct. I don't have knowledge about it. I may end up making a kitchen at the back of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it? So what I'm trying to say, even if you have a plan in your mind, to put it into picture, you need to have the blueprint in place
Mm-hmm.
or a design.
Mm-hmm.
Without a design, if you make a house, it may not be perfect or good.
Agree.
Getting it? So the condition is, if you have a plan in place, you have to go to an architect who will tell you how to design it and then finally implement. Getting
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Similarly, if you look at any IT organization, yeah, every IT organization has an architecture.
Correct.
Yeah. So if I may know which company you're working for,
I work for Virgin Money.
okay. Now, do they have an IT department?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's where I work.
Correct. Now, do they have an architecture in place?
Yeah, do you have?
They will have. Every IT organization will have an architecture.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that is what we do when we how to do an architecture, because the way you create an architecture, it will impact how your organization functions.
Agree.
Getting it? So what is the basically the architecture? One more example I want to give you. If you want to withdraw money from an ATM, what do you do?
walk into a ATM and withdraw it. That's what
Correct.
I did.
Yeah. So what you do is you swipe your card first, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you enter your PIN number
Mm-hmm.
and the amount you want to withdraw, and then you withdraw your money, correct?
Correct.
Now, what happens at the back end? If you look at that, once you swipe your card, it will go to the database of the bank and check whether you are a person, holding this so much of, account in the bank, correct?
That's right.
Yeah. Also, if you look at that, so basically you need a business architecture for that. Now, also, you need to have a database in place where all the information has to be stored.
Mm-hmm.
Because only if you have a database, you can go and check whether your details are there, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Third one, for you to check, validate your identity, you need to have some applications.
That's right.
Right? You have to log in, you have to check your validate your identity and all those things. You may need some application.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, to make it all functional, you may need a technology.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to say, for you to withdraw money, you need to have the business architecture, the data architecture in place, application architecture in place, the security architecture in place, and the business data application technology and security.
Mm-hmm.
All these things should be required because all the different architecture, they interconnect with each other, interrelate with each other to deliver the cash for you.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do without technology? It will be very tough.
No.
Can you do without application? No, you cannot.
Mm-hmm.
So getting into what I'm trying to say, for you to withdraw money, all the different things, the business, the data, application, the technology, the security, all this come together, they interconnect with each other, interrelate with each other to deliver the money for you.
Agree.
Getting it? Yeah. Similarly, if any IT organization, you need to put an architecture in place because if you want to make an IT organization functional, you need all these different architectures in place.
Yeah.
Getting it? So if you want to provide a solution for your client, all these architectures come together, they interconnect with each other, interrelate with each other to deliver the solution.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So to do that, it is not an easy job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To make it simple, you can use a framework.
Agree.
Getting it? Yeah. So that's why I use a framework called TOGAF because it will simplify your work. So what exactly TOGAF does is it will combine your business architecture, right? Or I can say your business with the IT to deliver the solution for you. Getting it? Or in other words, let me ask you, imagine, have you heard of Bank of America?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now imagine if Bank of America comes and tells you, can you deliver an architecture for the bank? Right? So what you will do is you will tell them, we have a framework in place called TOGAF. Do you want us to use that? It is very efficient and make it efficient for you. So what happens is, if you use a framework like TOGAF, it will make the architecture more efficient and give you better return of investment. Getting it? So that is why organization use framework because that will give you better return, better profitability, and make you more efficient.
I understand. Yeah.
Getting it? Yeah. So that is why use framework. Yeah. Now coming back to TOGAF. Yeah. So here, if you look at that, can you see this on the screen? The ADM. Can you see this on the screen?
Yeah, I can see that.
Now, the core of TOGAF is the ADM.
Yeah.
Yeah. ADM stands for Architecture Development Method.
Yeah.
Now, like I told you, you have to develop an architecture, right? Maybe for your organization or maybe for any bank, for example, or a telecommunication organization or IT organizations. You get different types of clients. Yeah, what TOGAF says is you can use the ADM, what you see on the screen, you can use this one to deliver the architecture for the client.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it? So what we do normally in an architecture is in TOGAF, basically, you go through all the phases of the ADM to deliver the solution for the client.
Sorry, could you repeat that last sentence?
Sure. Yeah. You go through all the phases of the ADM here and deliver a solution for the client.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Getting it? For example, preliminary phase, you prepare for the architecture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not getting into further details. Phase A, if you look at that,
Mm-hmm.
you confirm the architecture and start working on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you go to phase B, you prepare the business architecture blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you go to phase C, you prepare the data and the application blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you go to phase D, you prepare the technology architecture blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So till phase D, you are preparing the blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, phase C, if you look at that, phase C, you plan for the implementation. All this you have prepared so far. How am I going to implement?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you plan for implementation in phase C, and this is where, if you look at that, the solution architect comes into play, the project team comes into place, the operations comes into picture, all this team come into picture.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to plan for implementation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So TOGAF, what happens is till phase D, if you look at that, all the work is carried by architects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But if you come to phase C, you plan for the implementation. What the architecture team does is they will coordinate with the operations and the project team.
Mm-hmm.
Because in TOGAF, everything is implemented by the project team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Either the project team or the portfolio team who will be implementing your project. Yeah. So if you are an architect and an architect part of an architecture team, you will coordinate with the project team, the portfolio team, the operation team, the solution architect, all those different people, and plan for the implementation.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it? So that is what you do in phase C. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Phase of you have a detailed migration and implementation plan.
Mm-hmm.
And in phase G, if you look at that, this is where you finally implement.
Mm-hmm.
Getting in all that you planned from the beginning, everything is implemented in phase G.
Yeah.
Getting it? Yeah. So that is what happens in TOGAF. Yeah. You plan for the architecture, you go through all the different phases, and finally implement in phase G.
Okay. How does the specific uh this TOGAF is part of the enterprise architecture, if I understand correctly.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, but how does it the solution architect, the business architect, or business BA, or the product owner, all this comes into play uh, in this overall journey or overall processes
Yeah, that's
because
what I was
it's
telling
more
you.
product driven
Sure.
in
Now, if you look at the business architect,
mm-hmm.
business architecture team will be active in phase B primarily.
Mm-hmm.
Now, please remember, business architect, the data architect, the solution architect, all this will be part of the architecture team. However, every phase, some people play a very important role. Okay, for example, in phase B, primary work is carried out by the business architecture team.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it? Because you have to prepare the business architecture blueprint.
Agree.
Getting it? What is a business architecture basically mean? Business architecture is basically, it is about your organization, right? The process, your departments, your, the functions, everything will be part of it.
Correct.
Getting it? Second one, phase C, if you look at that, data architects and the application architects comes into picture, because phase C, if you look at that, you prepare the data and the application blueprint.
You means will it be enterprise architect or a solution architect? Who is this you?
No. You basically mean, for example, in phase C, what all domains we cover. Now, please remember one more thing. In TOGAF, we cover only 4 domains. Yeah, if I have to develop an architecture, there are 4 domains specifically covered by TOGAF. Yeah, these are the 4 domains.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it? So in TOGAF, we cover the business architecture, data application, and technology. Now, if you look at technology, technology takes care of the security architecture as well.
Yeah, it's a more
Getting
of a
it?
platform.
Correct. Now, what happens is you have a separate team for business architecture, you have a separate team for application architecture, data architecture, and technology architecture.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it? So when I say we, what I'm referring to is people in phase B will be basically taking care of the business architecture.
Correct.
Yeah. People in phase C will be taking care of the data and the applications.
Mm-hmm.
And in phase D, mostly about technology architecture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're a separate team of people who take care of all these different domains.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it? Now, coming to phase C, tell me, what is the job of a solution architect?
In which stage you C, correct?
Okay. No, phase E, phase E.
E, okay.
Yeah.
Phase D is where actual implementation is planned. If I remember what you said, so basically he will be coming up and detailing out the implementation, or a kind of how do we kind of really materialize that uh, architecture design to develop and deliver of each application, and how do I implement it, operationalize it, the plan would be put in place.
Very excellent. Yeah. So, like you said, if you look at a solution architect, he takes care of so many things. For example, understanding the client's business strategy, the needs, right? He create the solution for the clients, right? And
Mm-hmm.
depending on the requirement of the client, you may give some advice, suggestions how to do it, things like that. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the solution architect job is basically to find out the best solution to to give to the client.
Agree.
Getting in. To do that, you will try to understand the client's business strategy, the requirement. You will try to create solution, right? And you will see what are the things you can use and so many other things. Getting it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So please remember the solution architect comes into picture in phase C and phase F.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is where they get involved and tell you we are going to implement now, these are the solution we can work on, or these are the changes we can do, or these are the good things we can work on, and that is the job of a solution architect.
Yeah,
Getting it?
understand.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
where does the project team comes into picture? As I told you before, in TOGAF, architecture is finally implemented by the project team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the project teams also comes into picture in phase C and phase F. Right? So what the
Mm-hmm.
architecture team does is they will coordinate with the project team, have a discussion with the project team, and finalize how they are going to implement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the team is going to implement the architecture. All the support is given by the architecture team.
That's right.
Getting it? Yeah. So finally, in phase G, project is finally implemented. So mostly it is the project team and the portfolio team who will be working there to implement.
Mm.
Getting it? So your question, solution architect mostly come into picture in phase C and phase F.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it?
Yeah.
Sometimes even in phase G to give some information or consulting and things like that.
Yeah. And when it comes to the overall now, if you look at it, it's all agile, and when it comes also kind of DevOps comes into play, and
Mhm.
in now the concept of platform engineering, all those things are there. How does it the DevOps practices or this thing work in collaboratively in more or in uh, cumulatively, or kind of support this best practices of platform engineering or DevOps?
Very
Could
good
you?
question.
Yeah,
Very good question. Now, if you look at DevOps, what are they basically into? DevOps people, they're basically into development and operations, correct?
agree.
Yeah. look at that, development works happens in basically in phase C, phase F, and phase G. And the operations basically is in phase G, because anything what you implement, all the day-to-day activities has to be taken care by the operations, correct? For example, once you implement a project, you have to monitor it, you have to give support to that, all the work has to be carried out, correct? Yeah, so it is carried out mostly in phase G, right? In implementation, and even after you finish with that, the operation team has to be in function. Getting in. So mostly where do they get involved with the architecture team? It is in phase G, operation team. And then after the project is implemented, they take over maybe the monitoring part, the support part, all that is taken care of. Yeah. So DevOps and operation mostly comes into picture in phase E of G.
Okay. And the TOGAF, actually, if you look at it, it is more of enterprise driven. At enterprise level, it can be very helpful to kind of put a roadmap for enterprise in place. But how does it add value to the step E, F, and G? And because I'm trying to kind of drill down more, because that is what I've been doing. I'm trying to understand, correlate, because I understand the architecture vision, basically how you, all those things I can understand, but uh, basically I just need to kind of probably a little correlate and understand from the prospects of how TOGAF changes or adds value for, let's say, for example, let's say EFG in that area. Could you just detail out a little bit?
Sure, I'll do that. Now, if you look at phase C, you plan for the implementation work. Yeah, so if you look at phase C, it's called opportunities and solution. Now, what exactly do we do here? You are looking for ways how you can implement the project. Also, what are the different solutions you can find depending on the requirements of the client.
That's right.
Yeah. So here what happens, if you look at that, it is a coordination between different teams.
That's right.
Yeah. Who adds value? The solution architect adds value, the project team adds value, the architecture team adds value, and the consultant and different people involved who may all come together in phase C and F to discuss on the implementation. Everybody has a role to play.
Agree.
Getting in. Solution architect has to come out with different solution, what they can offer, right? Operations can tell you what all they can take care after it is implemented, right? Architecture team, they're very much required with that because they are the one who prepare the blueprint so far. So for you to implement that, they will play a very important role as consultant going forward to tell you what all they have done, what are they expecting from the project, and to implement, basically help you with that. Yeah, so this is what all this particular phases, all these different teams and groups, they come together. It is a coordinated effort between all the different groups to finally implement.
I understand, but how does the TOGAF adds value? Because that's what you just said is a general practice or a common way of executing. What is the value addition which TOGAF does for each of these steps?
Thank you. Now, if you look at TOGAF, how does TOGAF help you in a project? Or why do people come, want to use TOGAF as a framework? No, listen this one. What TOGAF does basically is, for example, enterprise architecture. Yeah. What do you mean by enterprise? It is basically the business part. Yeah. What is architecture? It is the IT part. Getting in. What TOGAF does is combining your business and IT to make it more efficient, to have a better return of investment, and to manage your risk basically, and it will help you with all these things. Yeah. In simple term, TOGAF will make it more optimized or efficient so that you have better competitive edge in the market. Yeah. If you are implementing an architecture project using TOGAF, it will be definitely better qualitatively than any of your competitors, because it is a framework that will make you more efficient. Getting it? So that is the part of TOGAF. Because if you use TOGAF to deliver an architecture, it will be different from what architecture you have in the market. That's why it is at number one, because it will make it more efficient, or optimization will be better. Getting it? Or managing your resources, or managing your risk, all that will be can be done in a better way.
Okay.
Getting
And
it?
got it. And coming to the this thing, I can see correlate things. As you're rightly saying, 9.2 and 9 point at the TOGAF 10, the certification wise, actually, it's all very similar to that. This thing, correct? It
It is
follows the same thing.
it is similar. Let me take you to now. Can you see this on the screen? The PDF.
I can see the slides, not the PDF.
Okay. Just a moment. Okay. Can you see that now?
Yes, I can see.
Now, this is called TOGAF Standard 10th edition.
Mm-hmm.
Please remember, anything we do in TOGAF, it is as per the open group requirement.
Correct.
Yeah. So this is a pocket guide given by the open group.
Mm-hmm.
Right? For example, what all things you need to know about TOGAF, what all things are covered in TOGAF 10, all is given here.
Okay.
Yeah, for example, if you look at TOGAF 10, this is basically TOGAF 10. Yeah,
Okay.
so TOGAF 10, when I take you through TOGAF 10, these are the contents I cover for you. For example, introduction and core concept. Yeah, architecture development method, it is common in both. Yeah, ADM technique is common in both. Applying the ADM, then content. So if you look at all this part, it is same in 9.2 and 10.
Yeah.
Getting it? Yeah. For example, I covered for you architecture development method. It is same in TOGAF 10 and TOGAF 9.2.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it? So TOGAF 10, when I cover, this is the basic things we cover for you. Also, there's something called series guide.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So series guides are all this topic. We cover very basic things here. So series guides are basically into, it will help you basically to implement. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm implementing an architecture, for example, how to do the business architecture, it will help me with that. Information architecture, security, right? So TOGAF series guides are basically helpful for implementation.
Okay.
Getting it? Or it will be more information, all the things for implementing the architecture.
Okay.
Getting it? Yeah. And to know what, now please remember, if you're learning TOGAF, you cannot learn anything you want. It should be according to the open group. Yeah.
I
So
understand.
if you look at the open group here, open group, have you heard of the open group before?
Yeah, I've heard about them.
Yeah. Open group is a consortium, and we have around 600 members as of now. Yeah. So TOGAF certification, everything is TOGAF is controlled by the open group.
Okay.
Getting it? So for you to take even a certification, it should be according to the open group requirement. Yeah. So this particular PDF, if I share with you, whatever is given here, it is according to the requirement of the open.
Okay.
Getting it? So TOGAF 10 covers, these are the basic things we cover in TOGAF 10, the fundamental content, the TOGAF series guide, and the library.
Okay. So
Getting
as
it?
part of this course, actually, you'll be covering this topic. What else you'll be sharing? Like, is there any tools and let's say Archimac and all, they use it for enterprise architecture, Archimat, all those things. Do you kind of will you be kind of introducing or covering any of those things? And will you be giving the real-time kind of questions, scenarios, what are required for the certification? What all will be covered as part of this course?
Thank you. Now, if you look at the tools, are you familiar with any architecture tool for Archimate, for example? It is a tool for enterprise architecture.
Correct.
Not only that, Archimate is recommended by the open group.
Correct.
Yeah, not only that, there's so many tools in the market, Archimate, Trogs, Abacus, Arrays, so many other, correct?
That's right.
Yeah, for you to do architecture, hundreds of tools are there in the market. Depending on your requirement, what you do is, before you do an architecture work, you sit as a team and decide on which are the tools you are going to use for the architecture work. Yeah, now, if you ask me the 4-day course, do we cover detailing of the tools? No, we don't. Right? Just basic things, which are the tools we normally use. We'll give you some documents connecting, relating to that. That's all. We won't be getting into detailing of the tools and how to use it, things like that.
All right.
Getting it? Yeah. And next question, do I prepare you for the exam? 100%. Now, please remember, anybody who sits in my class will 100% pass the exam. Okay, one more thing I want to ask you. Do you know how many people pass the exam in TOGAF?
Not really.
Yeah. 55% of the people pass the exam in the first attempt.
Okay.
You can check in Google. Now, any team which I take for training. Now, let me give you some of the teams I've trained on recently. For example, 1 week back, I was in Dubai. Right? In Dubai, I train people. There's a group. Are you familiar with the Dubai market? There's something called Vassal Group, construction company.
No.
Yeah, it's one of the leading construction company in Dubai. So I trained 2 batches for the Vassal Group. Yeah, so I've done maybe around 22 batches in Dubai itself. Okay, now before that, I took a batch for KPMG, then I took a batch for ANS in Manila, right? So I've done for all major clients. Now, anybody who sits in my class, you can be assured of a pass if you provided you do your homework.
Yeah.
Getting it? Yeah. So I will be giving you the questions which you are supposed to do. Let me show you some questions basically. Let me show you. Okay. Can you see this on the screen? The examination. Can you see that? Now, this is how the level 1 question comes. Yeah, for example, okay, see if we can answer. Which one of the following best describe the TOGAF standard?
It's a framework.
It's a framework and method for architecture, correct? That is the right answer. Getting it? So level 1 paper will be 40 questions for you, similar, something similar to this.
Okay.
Again, the level 1 question paper will be something like this. Okay, all the phases. Now, please remember, 50% of your question come from ADM.
Yeah, I heard that. Yes.
Yeah, 50%. Above 50 sometime, but at least 50% of the question come from ADM. Right? So ADM is what I showed you some time back, all the different phases. Yeah. So A, B, C, D, F, G, all that. Yeah. So 50% question comes from that. Yeah. And from 40 questions, you have to score 24 out of 40 for a pass.
Okay.
Yeah. Level 2, I'm going to explain level 2 you, level 2 for you. Now, if you look at level 2 question, yeah, here we go. Level 2, you'll have 8 different scenarios. 8 scenarios will be given to you. Every scenario will have a query. You see this on the screen, this is a scenario. Yeah. Once you read through the scenario, you will have a question. Yeah. So whatever answer you choose should be based on the question.
Yeah.
Now, how many answers are here? 4.
4 answers.
Yeah. Every question will have 4 answers. A, B, C, and D. But the catch is, from the 4 answers, 3 answers will be right answers. 1 answer will be wrong. Getting it? Now, if you choose the best answer,
Mm-hmm.
you get 5 marks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you choose the second best answer, you get 3 marks. If you
Mm-hmm.
choose the third best answer, you get 1 mark.
Mm.
And the wrong answer will have 0.
Okay. Let's
Getting
say
it?
out of four, if
Uh,
I select uh, two answer correct and one answer wrong,
no, 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 no. You can choose only one answer.
okay, you can choose
Yeah.
only one answer. Okay.
For example, you choose answer B
Mm.
and it is the best answer, you get 5 marks.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it? So
Mm.
even if you choose the second best answer in all the question, you
Mm-hmm.
score a 24 out of 40.
Mm.
Getting
Understood.
it? If you choose all the correct answers in all the 8 questions, you get a 40 out of 40.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it? So mostly what happens, some question you score 5 marks, some question you score 3 marks. Yeah. So at the end of the day, you have to score 24 out of 40 for a pass in level 2. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how does this exam can be taken? Uh, First, you have to clear uh, the level one, and only after that I can take the level two, and it has to be taken 2 different days or something like that.
No, no,
And
no,
how
no.
does it work? All those things.
Well, I recommend you take both the exam together.
Okay.
Yeah. If you want to take it in 2 different days, however,
Mm.
what difference does it make? Because if you look at that, you study for level 1, same knowledge is required for level 2.
Okay.
Getting it? So my recommendation, do both the exam on the same day. You do level 1 and then you go for level 2 immediately.
Okay.
Now,
And
how the exam was taken previously, we used to go to Pearson View for the exam. Now, because of Corona, you can take it from your home.
okay.
Okay, very soon they may change it back to the exam class. Yeah, but good, you have a good opportunity, so you can take it from home. However, you will be observed by someone on the camera.
Yeah, I am aware of it. That's
Yeah, and not only that, nobody should enter your room. You should keep it locked. If somebody enters your room by mistake, you will be disqualified.
I am aware of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and they will check your table. You cannot even keep a piece of paper with you, pen you cannot keep, nothing.
Mm.
You'll take, they will tell you to show all the tables in your room, and all the 4 sides of your
I
room, your
Yeah, I'm
table.
aware of it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
took at the Azure and all similarly. Yeah.
correct. Yes, yes.
Yeah, and coming to the this thing, uh, yeah, I saw that the topics, questions, and all. So will you be also kind of giving me some tests so that to assess my understanding standards, or how does it work? How do
Well,
you?
well, that's what I told you. We will be preparing for the exam very well. And you'll have mock examination in the class, and we'll be doing 2 mock exam in level 1 and 2 mock exam in level 2.
And okay. And one question probably the this thing, how does the TOGAF certification help on cloud architecture? Basically, the cloud solution architects are
Mm.
quite a good in demand. How
Yes, sir.
does the TOGAF can practically improvise the solution approach?
Well, TOGAF, if you look at that, as we discussed before, it is about architecture. Now, even if you're using cloud, architecture plays an important role, right? Any organization, you cannot have an organization without an architecture.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Similarly, if you're in cloud, even
Mm,
for cloud, you need an architecture in place.
agree.
Yeah. So it plays an important, because architecture is everywhere. Even if I'm establishing in a cloud, there is architecture involved. Yeah, even if I establish IT organization architecture, if you look at Walmart, retail organization, Amazon, architecture is involved. Yeah,
Yeah,
service oriented architecture. So all that. So it is helpful in every area. That's why it's much in demand, because every domain, you need to have an architecture in place.
yeah, I understand. But okay, let's say application as a solution
Mhm.
uh, from a design perspective. I can see that it's a gives you a broader vision or a higher level vision or higher level blueprint for a enterprise level. But how does it add value at application level? Say basically application level, the detailing what is required is different from the higher level view of thing. How does the TOGAF helps at application level? Let's say, for example, in certain scenarios, in your application, use the integration via SOA or REST or messaging. All those things are different ways of integrating. Let's say, for example, will that be? Will there is there any standards or a way to kind of understand what fits better using TOGAF knowledge?
Well, if you look at the application, yeah, even in TOGAF, we have an application architecture described, correct? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and there are different application we use. Basically, for example, if you look at the banking architecture, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you may use so many different application, mobile application plus whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so TOGAF architecture emphasizes on all these four domains. Only problem is TOGAF, when you cover the 4-day course, that may not take you into detailing of the application is being developed. How do I connect with that? Nothing, right? It will tell you, give you details on the application and where it can be used, how will it help you, all those things. Getting it? And the 4-day course covers only that as per the open group requirement. However, the people who get into further implementation has to maybe do a dummy project or get another 4 or 5-day courses there for implementation further once you're certified. Yeah. So that is how
What
it
is
goes.
there? Is there
Yeah.
anything further
Yeah.
to drill down?
Further,
Mm.
people who get into implementation, either you have to take up a dummy project basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 1 or 2 dummy projects you have to do, right? And get some practice and start doing it. But the first level is always getting the certification, maybe then get into some projects, 1 or 2 projects you can do, right? Also, there are, courses available for implementation.
What is course available for implementation?
Yeah. For example, there are, specifically for how to implement a TOGA project.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you do this 4-day course, it will give you very basic information for it. Now, for example, if you go to, area,
No, I understand. What is available for implementation?
yeah, there are courses available where you can learn about more implementation and more than that, case studies, right? And
Mm-hmm.
there are case studies which we encourage people to do, which will help them understand the implementation part more in detail.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So any other basic thing, any other information? So what I suggest is you can go through this and please go through the open group website here, right? Yeah, please go through that. You get anything you want to check, anything you can search on that. Yeah, and you can get details on that, whatever you're looking for. So even the course content, what all topics we should be covering, everything is given in the website.
And how long this certification will be valid?
It is lifelong.
Do I need to renew it later?
No. If you get a new version, you have to do the new version. Yeah, there's a bridge exam for that.
Okay. And how the if I take the new eyes TOGAF 10, you will be covering all the required information, and also you will be sharing the content for me to go through later and understand in detail as well. Correct? I can refer it always.
Correct? So TOGAF 10, if you look at TOGAF 10, whatever I cover in the class, it will be as per the requirement of TOGAF 10.
Okay.
Because that is the newest version, right? So whatever I cover in the class, whatever I prepare you for, it is basically for TOGAF 10 exam.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless there's a requirement, for example, some client come and say we want 9.2 exactly, so then we'll go with 9.2. Yeah. However, TOGAF 10 is the new version available in the market, as you see on the screen. Yeah. So we cover all the topics as per the requirement for TOGAF 10.
And the exam will also be for a TOGAF 10 usages, correct?
Yeah, you can take 9.2 or 10 depending on your requirement, but I recommend go for TOGAF 10, that's the new version.
Correct. That's what, because it makes sense to be more
Correct.
at latest one always,
Yeah,
because
correct. Yes.
and one probably the thing is you what you will be sharing the content and also some reference material for me to refer to deep dive in each topics, correct?
I will be sharing this with the PPT. I'll be sharing with you, and not only the PPT, I'll be sharing PDF with you. Now, as you see on the screen, can you see that on the screen?
I can see the screen, yes.
One, yeah, this is called the Pocket Guide.
Okay,
Now, do you know level 2 is an open book exam?
I didn't know that. Okay.
Okay, level 2 is an open book exam. So when you go for level 2 exam, they will be giving you a PDF like this. So any topic you want to answer on, you can go to that topic, read on that and answer it.
They will be giving it, or
They
I
will be
can.
giving it to you. No, you don't have to take it. They will be giving it as a link with the question paper.
Okay, okay,
Yeah. So I will be sharing this with you. I'll be sharing the pocket guide with you. I'll be sharing with the PDF with you. So you can, because anything what you require for the TOGAF is given by on the PDF. Everything is given there. Yeah. Whatever you need to prepare for exam, everything is given in the PDF, because every question comes from the PDF and the PDF comes from the open group.
okay. And the last question probably to kind of understand is uh, from the exam perspective actually, will I be eh, will do I will I be getting any further discounts via if I go via
Hmm.
any of this reference anywhere I can get
Hmm.
a better pricing?
Well, exam price is same across the globe, right?
Yeah.
For example, who conducts the exam? The Pearson View. The Pearson View charges the same rate across the globe.
Okay.
Getting it? But if you book online, it will be expensive for you.
Okay.
Yeah, if you try to book the exam online, it will be expensive for you. So it is good to buy from any Pearson View centers, or if you want, I can book the exam for you. For example, the gentleman, what's his name? Forgot. Ganesh. Yeah. So
Yeah.
he will be helping you with that, right? So either
So
will,
he
yeah.
can get a better price for me.
Well, I don't think so. The exam prices across the globe are
Exam
always the
price,
same.
yeah, the thing is,
Yeah.
exam price depending, sometimes like you may get the offer for a 15% or 20% or 30% discount. But that percentage will be depending on the like the center, the Pearson View Center or any other exam center, not like a individual. So, but I'll just check and I'll confirm the price.
Okay. Okay.
And with
Uh,
you? Yeah.
yeah. And basically during the course, actually after 3-4 days, what you're saying, if I need kind of further information, we can still have some sessions, correct?
Yes, you can connect with me even after you finish with that. For example, you have a doubt on certain topic or anything else, you can connect with me. And most of the time I'm free on a weekend and we
Oh,
can connect with that.
okay, that sounds good. Okay.
Hmm. Thank you. So anything else, Ganesh? That's all from my end. And one more thing I want to tell you, I'm an accredited trainer by the Open Group, and all my details are given in the website. You can check on that. Okay.
All right. And
Mm.
how does it work actually? Uh, Basically, you will be kind of conducting a session, and Ganesh, he will be the one who will be kind of giving conducting all the sessions, correct? That's how it works.
Well, that's how it is. Training organized, for example, Ganesh, they take trainers, freelance trainers from across the globe and conduct sessions. Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what we do. Yes.
Okay.
So as
Thank
per
you.
the discussion, it will be 4-day session, right?
That's right. Yes.
So how many hours per day?
It will be is it a single person. We can do it little early. Otherwise, it's 8 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. For example,
Sorry. What is it? Could you repeat
yeah,
last sentence?
I'll tell you that. For example, I took a batch for E and Y. We had 26 candidates in the batch.
Okay.
Yeah, that takes so much of time because every person comes with two doubts. It will take double the time.
Okay.
Getting it? So normally they keep it 7 to 8 hours, maybe seven. But if it's a single person, we can finish up much early.
Okay. Okay. So you're suggesting we can be kind of uh, cover most of it in less than this thing. But each day will take how many hours?
Yeah, it will be at least a single person also 6 to 6.5 hours will be required
Every day,
every day.
6 hours
Yeah,
every day.
more 6 or more. Okay,
Okay.
and depending on the how you pick it up, and if practice is required, maybe you have to extend also sometimes. Otherwise, at least 6 to 6.5 hours minimum.
Okay. Probably
Mm.
the thing is actually I have probably 2 hours
Mhm.
a day I can attend the classes, and later I have to kind of uh, look at the other deliverables, what is there in my hand. Can we do it that way? Can we split it up to two and a
Two
half hours?
2 hours, because what happens is sometimes I travel.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes I travel, and I travel to all the nearby countries, so that becomes the challenge. If I'm in India, maybe we can take it, no
Okay.
problem. Having
Okay.
said that, every week I have a batch.
Okay.
Okay, so next week I have two batches, in fact, one for business architecture and one for TOGAF. Yeah, it is an international batch from UK.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so every week I have a batch. Sometimes I travel, maybe Singapore or Dubai, any of the countries nearby, sometimes.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's
So yeah. So this week actually I'm free. I came back from Dubai, so this week I'm free. Yeah.
okay.
And if we can cover maximum finish of this week, it will be
Okay. So I think this week I'm relatively okay,
good. Mm.
and but yeah, 6 hours could be little uh challenging. I just
Okay.
won't be
See
uh
how much you can spend Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or even Sunday night. We can take 1 or 2 hours. It's fine. We can finish it off.
okay. All right. Sounds good.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, I just want to kind of prepare myself to kind of start thinking in detail of it. Will you be able to share this PDFs? And
Yeah. I can share it.
because I just want to kind of go
Yeah.
through, understand,
Yeah.
prepare
Yeah.
mentally for what is expected to come actually.
You can do that. I'll share the pocket guide with you. You can go through that. Okay.
Sounds
I'll
good.
be sharing the pocket guide of 9.2 and 10.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And one probably the clarification is Ganesh. You just let me know what is the uh, best price discount what you can get me for the certification.
Yeah, that we
I
can
just,
discuss offline.
yeah, I just
Have
want
any
to,
questions regarding the technical things, you can ask.
yeah,
And
and
other thing,
yeah. So if I understand correctly, ADM is the main area where most of the exam questions comes.
It
But
is. It is.
also, if I
Yeah.
understand correctly, you have a, enterprise architecture framework and enterprise content framework, all those things, and reference module and principles and all.
All that will be covered, and we'll be preparing with the exam. Also, will be preparing with that.
Okay, and anything you suggest for me to kind of start looking or any of the content start referring apart from
Well,
uh,
nothing as such, I'll say, because if you understand something wrongly,
yeah,
yeah, that will be a challenge later. Yeah, so we can start from the class, no problem. Once you learn about it, you can go and refer at home.
all right, sounds good. Okay,
Okay, yeah. Thank you. That's all. Thank you.
thank you.
any questions, Srini, from your end?
No, probably I can discuss with you offline. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay,
Also, one last thing from my end. So
sure.
how we can connect? Like, do you have any? Is that like, do you have any kind of Zoom, the paid subscription, or how it is? Or do I need to arrange anything?
Well, normally the organizations give me, but if you want, I can arrange it also, because a single person doesn't cost anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I do have paid subscription. Like I'm using
Mhm.
the paid one.
Yeah, yeah,
But I'll give you
yeah,
credentials. I'll do
yeah,
the recurring meeting and I'll share it to you the credentials. Then
yeah.
you can
That
use
will be no. Yes, yes,
the
yes.
Zoom. If not, we can do the through Skype also.
Yeah, Skype will be a challenge because in many ways.
Okay.
Okay, good to go with Zoom because we have so much of content. Yeah, So
Yeah, sure. Then until this course completion, I'll do one thing. Like I'll share my credentials to you. You can
okay,
use that. Then post that. I'll change my things.
you can do that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so
Any
much.
other questions
Good night.
for me? Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks for your
Thank you so
time.
much.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much.
good night.
Thank you both of you.